Solving Equations, Part 2. In today's lesson, students will solve equations by subtracting a number from both sides. By doing what? Very good. So let's go ahead and review equations. Remember, an equation is a statement that says two expressions are equal. Two expressions are what? Equal, okay? Now, an equation must be balanced, okay? An equation must be what? Balanced. That means what you do to one side, you must do to the other, okay? So in this lesson, we are subtracting a number from both sides. So whatever you subtract from one side of the t, you have to subtract from the other side. So we are solving equations by subtracting today. By doing what? Subtracting. And that's because when you solve for an equation, you first look for what letter are you trying to solve for? Let's read this equation. It's x plus 8 equals 15. Okay, so what are we trying to find out? We're trying to find out what x is, right? This is x. What letter is it? X. So this is saying what number plus 8 will give you 15? Okay, think about it. What number plus 8 will give you 15? So we have to go through some steps to solve for x, or solving for the unknown. Anybody remember what the first step is? What do you have to do? You have to draw something. It's a letter, kind of. What is it? It's a T. And that T goes through the equal sign. It goes through what? Okay, so you draw a T and you have to make sure and leave some space right underneath the equation. Okay, so that's what the T looks like. So this space is now going to be for subtracting that number from both sides. So again, what are you trying to solve for? You're trying to solve for the letter x. Okay, so you circle the variable x, and then you look at the number that is next to x. And this number is a positive 8. So you have to do the opposite of positive 8. So what is the opposite of positive 8? Opposite of positive 8? Negative 8. So you subtract subtract 8 from both sides. Okay, subtract 8 from both sides. All right, so now you have a positive 8 and a negative 8. That makes 0. You can bring down now the x. Okay, bring down x. And another thing you want to remember to do is that you see how this t goes down here? Okay, you're going to actually write, you see how there's the equal sign here? You're going to write the equal sign on this t, okay? Because this separates the equal sign. So now x equals whatever 15 take away 8 is. So let's go ahead and do 15 minus 8. If you remember the touch math dots, we're going to start with 15 and we're going to count backwards. Say 15 and then touch 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, so what does x equal? X equals 7. Then you put a box around your answer. All right, so here comes step number 2, is that even if you think x equals 7, you should be able to check your answer, which means put the value in, substitute that value for x back into the original equation. And a lot of people were having a hard time with this. So the original equation is this. We originally said that x plus 8 equals 15, right? So we're going to say, all right, well, x plus 8 equals 15. So if we found that x equals 7, could we go ahead and put 7 back into this equation to see if it's true? Because an equation is a statement. Remember, it's a statement saying that two expressions are equal. So this expression is x plus 8, and this expression is 15. So if we put 7 in the place of x, and we say 7 plus 8, does that equal 15. Is 7 plus 8 15? Is it? Yes, it is, right? So then we're going to put a check because we found the right answer. Go ahead and get that down. Okay, so now I want to show you an equation where it does not begin with x, okay? Now I'm going to ask you a question really quick. If I say 13 plus x, okay, 13 plus x, is that the same as x plus 13? Are they the same? Are they the same? 13 plus x, does that equal x plus 13? Are they the same? Yes. So with addition, it doesn't matter where you put the numbers, okay? That's called commutative property. It's called what? Commutative property, meaning that you can change where the number is, and it's going to give you the same value, okay? So 13 plus x and x plus 13, those are the same. So that means that if x is positive here, okay, now is 13 a positive number? Is it? Do you see a positive right here? No, it's invisible, right? But this is really a positive 13. That's what you have to understand. So if you want to go ahead and make this a positive, that's fine, okay? Again, and that is the same as saying x plus 13. So the equation is 13 plus x equals 19. So how do we now solve for x using algebra? All right, so all of the steps are the same. The first thing you need to do is draw a T. We call that the T-bone steak, okay? Draw a T, leave some space. Now, we're going to circle the variable we're looking for. We're looking for x. Now, what number is next to x? And I don't want you to look at this number. Look at the left side of the equation. What number's next to x now? What is this number again, remember? It's positive 13. So we still have to do the opposite of that number that is next to x. So what's the opposite of positive 13? It's negative 13. Okay, so we're going to subtract 13 from this side of the t, and that means we need to subtract 13 from this side as well. Okay. All right. So a positive 13 and a negative 13 make what? What do you think? They make 0. What you're trying to do is cancel this out, which means it will be 0 when you cancel something, okay? All right, then you bring down the x. You're trying to find what x, remember where the equal sign goes? It goes on the t itself. So now, x equals 19 take away 13. So 9 take away 3 is 6, and 1 take away 1 is 0. So here, x equals 6. Okay. Do you remember how you check the equation? What is the original equation? The original one is what? It is 13 plus x equals 9. So you're going to rewrite this equation right here. You got to rewrite it. You say 13 plus x equals 9. Saying, 19 equals 19. It's asking what 13 plus what number would give you 19? And we found that x is what? X is 6. So we're going to substitute 6 in the place of x. That's substitution. Substitution is what? Putting a number in the place of a letter. So we're going to put 6 in the place of x. So we're going to say, all right, is 13 plus 6 more, does that give you 19? Is that true? You say 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes, it does. Okay, so put a check. Okay, let's read the last example together. It says 4 plus x equals 14. Okay, so this is asking, if you start with the number 4 and you add a number, which number will give you 14? 14 plus what number gives you 14? Okay, so our first step is to do what? Make a t. You make a t through the equal sign and you leave some space. Okay. All right. So now we're asking ourselves, what are we solving for? We're solving for x. So always circle the variable And then you look for the number, look at the number next to x. Well, what is this? It's 4, right? Okay, is this positive 4? Is it? Do you see a positive sign? No, it's invisible. If you don't see a negative sign, you assume that the number is positive. You assume that what? The number is positive. And you can write a positive if you want. That's a positive 4. So what is the opposite? Because you have to do the opposite to solve the equation. What's the opposite of positive 4 there? It's negative 4. So you're going to subtract 4 from one side. What you do for both sides, what you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. Okay? So subtract 4 from this side and subtract 4 from this side of the t. There's two sides of the equation. Then you say, well, positive 4 and negative 4 make 0. Okay, they cancel out like this. So you put a cross through them. Now you're going to bring down an x. Bring down the x. Put the equal sign on the t. Okay, x equals. All right, now 14 take away 4. You know that positive 4 and negative 4 make 0, right? Okay, so this is 0, but you have to bring down the 1. Because if you have 14, you take away 4, you end up at 10. So x equals a positive 10. Now we're ready to check. Which equation goes here? What goes here? Which equation? The original equation, right? So if you want to put a box around that, that can probably help you. It's saying put this equation right here to check it again. So the equation, remember, is 4 plus what number equals 14? Do we know that it's 10? We need to check. If x is 10, substitute 10 in the place of x and say 4 plus 10. Does that give you 14? Well, we have 10 plus 4 more, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, it does. So go ahead and check that. Okay, get that down.